I knew something was wrong when I found her crying by the river, her back turned to the whole world. She was the strongest person I knew, but there she was, shoulders shaking like a leaf in the wind. This was not like Nkem. Nkem was the girl everyone wanted to be. She was the one who laughed the loudest, danced the hardest, and carried baskets twice her size on market days without breaking a sweat. But that day by the river, she looked like a shadow of herself. I didn't know if I should call out to her or just walk away. Something in me knew whatever was breaking her wasn't something I could fix. My name is Chika, and this is the story of how Nkem's love for Obinna nearly destroyed her. We grew up in the same village, a small place tucked between hills and fields of cassava. Everyone knew everyone, and secrets were as rare as rain in Harmattan. Nkem and I had been friends since we were little. Not close friends, but enough to greet each other on the road and share a laugh when our paths crossed. It started when Obinna returned from the city. He was the kind of man people noticed. He wore his confidence like a well-tailored agbada, and his smile could make a person forget their worries, if only for a moment. Obinna was not just handsome. He was charming in a way that felt effortless. The elders liked him because he spoke respectfully. The younger ones admired him because he carried himself like he belonged somewhere better than our dusty village. Nkem was smitten from the start. She told me once, "Chika, have you ever seen a man who walks like the earth bends for him? That's Obinna." She laughed, her eyes shining like she had discovered something the rest of us couldn't see. But there was a problem. Obinna didn't seem to notice her, at least not the way she wanted. He greeted her like he greeted everyone else, with warmth and politeness, but it never went beyond that. He didn't linger when they talked, didn't find excuses to be near her. And Nkem, for all her confidence, was not used to being ignored. "Maybe he's shy," she said one day as we sat under the udala tree. I shrugged. Obinna didn't seem shy to me, but I didn't have the heart to say it. Nkem's crush on him had grown into something bigger, something that took space in her thoughts and changed the way she moved through the village. She started wearing her best wrappers every day, tying them in ways that showed off her figure. She braided her hair more often, spending hours at Mama Nkechi's shop to make sure it was perfect. But Obinna's attention never shifted. He spent most of his time with Amara, the widow's daughter. Amara was quiet, the kind of girl who faded into the background unless you were looking for her. But there was a sweetness to her that drew people in. She and Obinna would sit by the stream, their heads bent together as they talked about things no one else could hear. The sight of them together was like a knife in Nkem's chest. One evening, she came to me with a plan. "I'll cook for him," she said, her voice steady, but her hands trembling. "I'll make the best jollof rice he has ever tasted. Then he will see I'm not like other girls." I wanted to tell her it was a bad idea, that love couldn't be won with food or fancy wrappers. But the hope in her eyes stopped me. So I helped her gather the ingredients, watched as she cooked with a care I had never seen before. When the food was ready, she wrapped it up and carried it to Obinna's house. He accepted the food with a smile, thanked her and closed the door. That was it. No grand gesture, no sudden realization that she was the one he had been waiting for. Nkem stood outside his door for a moment, her face blank, before she turned and walked away. After that, she started to change. The laughter that used to fill her voice was gone, replaced by a quiet sadness. She stopped braiding her hair, stopped wearing her best wrappers. She avoided the places where Obinna and Amara might be. One day, she told me, "I don't understand Chika. I did everything right. Why doesn't he love me?" I didn't know what to say. Sometimes love doesn't make sense. It's only fair, and it also sometimes doesn't follow rules. As the days went by, Nkem withdrew more and more. She stopped going to the market with her usual energy, and her absence felt in a way the air around the village grew heavier. People whispered about her, wondering what had happened to the girl who used to brighten every gathering. I tried to be there for her, but there was only so much I could do. Her heart was broken, and I couldn't piece it back together. Then came the day she told me she was leaving. "I can't stay here anymore, Chika," she said, her voice soft but firm. "Everything here reminds me of him. I need to find a place where I can breathe again." I helped her pack her things, though I hated the thought of her leaving. She hugged me tightly before she left, whispering, "Thank you for always being my friend." I watched her walk away until she disappeared over the hill. Obinna and Amara's wedding was a big event. The whole village came out to celebrate, and the sound of drums and laughter filled the air. I couldn't bring myself to join in. Every beat of the drum felt like a reminder of what Nkem had lost, though I doubted Obinna ever truly understood the depth of her feelings for him. Years passed, and life went on. I heard bits and pieces about Nkem's true travelers and traders. She had moved to a nearby town and found work as a seamstress. Some said she was thriving, that she had regained her laughter and found new friends. Others said she had built walls around herself, keeping everyone at arm's length. One day, I received a letter from her. It was short but full of warmth. She told me she was doing well, that she had found a small but fulfilling life in her new home. She didn't mention Obinna or the village, and I didn't press her for details. I wrote back, telling her about the happenings in the village and how much she was missed. Even now, when I sit by the river, I think of her. I think of the girl who once laughed with abandon, who believed love could conquer anything. I wonder if she ever found the kind of love she deserved, the kind that would see her for who she truly was. Sometimes I imagine what her life might be like now. Does she wake up every morning with a smile? Or does the ghost of Obinna still haunt her in her quiet moments? I like to believe she found peace, that she learned to see her own worth beyond the love she had never received. Some stories don't have happy endings, but they still leave a mark. Nkem's story is one of those. It's a reminder that love is not always fair, but it's not also the end of the world. Life goes on, and so do we, carrying the pieces of our heartbreaks and the hope that better days are ahead. In the quiet of the evenings, as the sun dips behind the hills and the river reflects the colors of the sky, I whisper a prayer for her. A prayer that wherever she is, she knows she is loved in ways she may never fully understand. But the memory of her is not the only one I carry. There is something haunting about the way the seasons change in the village, how the fields grow and wither, how people come and go. Nkem's departure left a hole, but it was not the only change. Obinna and Amara's marriage brought its own stories, though not always happy ones. People whispered that their laughter by the stream grew less frequent, that city life after marriage was harder than they had expected. But no one dared to speak these rumors too loudly. After all, Obinna was still the man who had made the village proud. Sometimes I wonder if Obinna ever thinks of Nkem. Does her face cross his mind when he hears certain songs or smells jollof rice cooking on a fire? I will never know, and maybe it's better that way. The heart has its own way of hiding truths, even from itself. And me? I stayed in the village. I married a man who makes me laugh, who dances under the moonlight even when there is no music. I built a small life that suits me, and every now and then, when I sit by the river and hear the water rushing over the rocks, I think of Nkem. I think of her laughter, her strength, and the way she loved with her whole heart even when it was breaking. One day, I hope to tell my children about her. Not just about the heartbreak, but about the courage it took to start over. About how life, no matter how heavy it feels, always offers a chance to begin again. I will tell them about the river, about the hills, and about a girl who taught me that some stories are meant to be carried, even if they are never fully understood. The river keeps flowing, as it always has, and so do we.